This week on Talk of the Town, we transitioned from Halloween straight into a Christmas wonderland with Bear River Floral and Gifts Christmas Open House. But don't worry, we'll have some Thanksgiving features this month. We stopped by C&R to get your winterization tips and featured their deals on snowmobile trailers and campers. We hear from the 6 candidates who are vying for seats on Tremonton City Council, and we wrap up with a recap of fall sports with Athletic Director Clay Chernus.
I used to work at a different flower shop and things just didn't work out, so we started our own here. We were down by Kent's and we've changed locations, so now we're here instead. So we decided to move because of the parking down in the parking lot down at Kent's was kind of horrible. People trying to get their pizza and stuff and that. It was just better parking. It's more convenient. We're on Main Street now. I think it's a better location. We got a little bit more space in the workroom and stuff for us to work, so it's been kind of nice. Our owners are Blaine and Leanne Potter, and then there is me, Marianne, May, and then my daughter Mallory comes in and works with us. We've got Riley Chapman, who is a worker. We've got Taryn Sorensen, who is now a new worker that we just hired on. And then we've got after school girl, Audrey Marble. So, and they're our after school. She comes in, does deliveries, helps with the things, and we all kind of do the same thing. We all design and.
Yeah, we all have our own little jobs that we are best at. Like some of us are better at some things than others, and we kind of just divide and conquer. So.
Yeah. We have our fresh flowers, of course, is our main thing that we have. We do vase arrangement, basket arrangements. We've got different containers. We do funeral work that we do a lot of around here for people, like casket sprays, standing sprays, anything for sympathy type things for families. We've got green plants and planters that we do. I do silk arrangements, anything from wreaths for their front door to centerpieces. Holidays are big for us, like Valentine's Day, Memorial Day especially. We get really busy.
We also do dance flowers. We get really busy with all the kids for dance flowers. We also do weddings. We do bouquets. We do the arch pieces for those weddings, and we kind of just take whatever they kind of dream of and try and make it a reality for them. So.
Yeah. Our Christmas open house is something we've been doing for years. Like when I worked at the other place, we had a Christmas open house. People can come in. We have all of our Christmas decor. We've got our decorated trees. You can buy ornaments and stuff off of the trees. Everything is marked and priced. We have arrangements. We've got everything from, like, you can see the different trays and stuff that we can do. We can do custom pieces if somebody wants an arrangement made and they have an idea what they want. We can do a custom piece for them. And everything that day is 20% off. And so they get their discount. And then we have like food and
refreshments,
prizes for people that come. We do a little raffle thing. So it's really fun to come and see it.
As soon as Halloween got over, we were listening to Christmas music on the way to work to get us in the mood, because we've been decorating for Christmas before Halloween. So we've been jamming out the whole time in the back room with Christmas, trying to get into the Christmas spirit to make these arrangements and wreaths and things. But
after so many years of doing this, you get to this point and it's like
Halloween, then Christmas.
Halloween, Christmas, and then you go home and your house doesn't look anything like what the store looks like, because you're done. You're physically done. You don't want to do any more Christmas at all, but I enjoy it. It's fun.
It's happy.
It is happy, so it's time. It's time for that season.
Yeah, people are already decorating for Christmas right now, so.
Yeah.
I think it's good because everyone needs a little pick-me-up, and you can come and buy flowers, and it makes other people happy, and we like to make other people happy, and it just, I don't know, supporting local businesses is really important to me, and I think that it's just nice to have somewhere that's different than most places. It gets the specific things like the flowers and the weddings and stuff like that and decorations, and I don't know, it's just fun for us, I guess.
We just have things that it's hard to go all the time to like Logan and that to find stuff, or Logan or Ogden. You have to go out of town to get stuff, and a lot of the stores have closed here in town now that we used to go to, like King's and that. So I feel like we have a little bit of option that people can come in and find something. So
it's good for gift ideas too.
Right.
When you want to find something for like funerals and things like that, there's not a lot of places in town, like she said, that you can find something like that.
A gift for
and
somebody.
We kind of provide that. So.
The Business Spotlight segment of Talk of the Town is made possible by supportive sponsors who allow Bear River Live to feature community stories and all the good that is happening every day in our county.
The most important thing to remember when you're doing a winterize is timing. Timing is everything on winterizations. You have to beat the first hard freeze in order to have a successful winterization. Think ahead, plan ahead. If you're done using your trailer and you know you're going to be putting it away, get it winterized on time. We see a lot of trailers that come in that are past the first hard freeze, and then you winterize it and you're not sure if there's going to be leaks. So make sure you get it before we have the first hard freeze, and that will make the winterize that much more successful. The other thing that I like to suggest to people when they're winterizing their trailer is that's a perfect time. You finished with it. It's a great time to just inspect the trailer in general. One of the things that we offer at C&R with our winterizations is we inspect the roof, we walk around the trailer, we look at all the seals on the outside, make sure that unit is sealed up tight for winter, so when we get the snow, the wet roof, whatever, the melting in the spring, that you don't all of a sudden find yourselves with leaks on the interior. That's one thing that I think a lot of people forget about. If you can't store it inside, you need to make sure that unit is sealed up tight before it goes to bed for the winter. If you're doing a winterize on your own, really the biggest thing, you can winterize your trailer one of two ways. You can blow it out with air. Some people don't like to use the antifreeze. We don't use it here. I don't like to have RV antifreeze in the system over the winter. It just can create a smell. If you get antifreeze where it shouldn't be, like inside the water tank or inside the water heater, you're going to develop a smell in your fresh system. So we blow it out with air. If you do it the air method, you have to make sure you get it all out. You need to blow through each of your faucets individually. Your toilet, your water heater needs to be completely drained, and all the water needs to be out of your fresh tank. And then you just put antifreeze into the traps for your sinks and shower. The other way you can do it is the antifreeze method. You can bypass your water heater and pump antifreeze directly into the lines. It can be a little more challenging because you have to identify where the pump is. You have to pump out of the antifreeze jug. With this method, you have to be careful that you don't get antifreeze into places it shouldn't be. Like I mentioned before, don't put it in the fresh tank. Do not pump it into your water heater, or you will regret it down the road because your system will stink horrendously like sulfur, and then it gets expensive to clean and flush that system out. So do it one of two ways, but ultimately the key to a winterize is just getting the water out of the system, whatever method that you use. We offer a service of inspecting the exterior of the trailer. We're going to get up and check the sealant on the roof. RV roofs can be dangerous to get on. We don't recommend that people get up there if you're not sure of foot. If you don't know where to stand, not all roofs are walkable, so we can do all that for you. And also, we guarantee the winterize. If you get it to us and we do the winterize for you before the first freeze, we're going to guarantee our work. So if you put water in the spring and you've got a leak, that's going to be on us. So again, the warranty is good to have that peace of mind, and then also to have the inspection done on your unit, which is a courtesy that we offer. When we're up on the roof, maybe the seals are still good, but it's time to put a treatment on your rubber roof. So that's also a great time to look at that, and rubber roofs are recommended to be treated every other year at the latest. So we can look at that. It's also a good time to consider, you know, do my wheel bearings need to be serviced before I use it next year? Or were my batteries giving me trouble this year? Do I need to look at adding solar to my unit or replacing my batteries? It's just a good overall time to evaluate the success of your camping trips throughout the year and look ahead to what you need to do for the upcoming camping season.
A lot of people think that the end of the year or the beginning of fall, that is the worst time to buy a trailer, but actually it's one of the best times to buy a trailer. We have some huge sales going on right now on a lot of clearance products. We even have some that have a free generator that come with them. We're offering this Onan 4500 watt generator. It's got wireless remote start, and that comes with any 2022 model that does not have an onboard generator on it. We have, for example, this great chaparral here that's on a clearance sale. This is one of those trailers that we have marked down so low, when we have to replace it, we won't be able to buy it for what we're selling it for. This is just one of the few models that we have that's still in stock that's going to be one of those great prices. So if you're looking to get out of the cold, move south for the winter, be able to spend your winter in maybe a warmer climate, come see us. We have a whole huge selection of trailers that are built to live in that we'd love you guys to be able to get out of the cold weather and spend some time where it's warm. We are inside the Chaparral 360 IBL. This is a really nice coach. It's insulated well, put together well. Chaparral's been on the market for a long time. People love them. This is one of those trailers you could head south in for the winter if you want. If you notice, it has a nice big open rear living area, just like you would find in any type of couples coach. Table and chairs, love seat that both recline, and then your rear couch in the back also makes down into a bed. If you notice, it does have a fireplace, full entertainment center. It's got some bar stools here for the bar that you can pull out and sit at, and of course your kitchen. This trailer has a really nice feature that people love here in the state of Utah because it has a mid bunk. So if you'll notice up here, we have a bunkhouse that is great for visitors or your dogs or that one child that will not move out. Then we come into the master bedroom. It is plumbed for washer dryer if that's something that you need or would like. There's plenty of storage in here. The closet is massive. And then the bathroom is right behind us as well. This is on one of our clearance sales. So if this is something that meets your needs or most of your needs, come in and see us. We'll throw in a generator.
We're in front of an RPM snowmobile trailer. It's arguably the best time of year around here. Why is that? Because it's turning cold, snow's starting to hit the tops of the mountains, and that means we can go snowmobiling. So RPM snowmobile trailers, we got them coming in. All of you that know about the RPM, they only come for a couple times a year, and we got our first run in and we've got them around, so we're ready to go have fun. You get inside of it, you leave all your gear in it, it melts off your sleds, completely changes the lifestyle of snowmobiling. For all you that like the cold, like the snow, you got to have an RPM, it'll change your life. So come in and see us. We've got goosenecks, bumper poles, all the stuff, 20s, 28s. Right now we've got a good selection, but they're going quick. I think we've run out, I don't know, a good handful plus in the last few days. So come and get them because they'll run out by about the end of December. So you got to have it this year for 24 season. All right, let's look inside, see what fun's inside. Power rear ramp. Who wants to worry about a ramp coming down on their head? You just push the button and it comes down on its own. And then inside we got all kinds of wintertime excitement. Those of you that have been around the RPM, you already know, comes traction blocks, ski glides, all the fun stuff. The holes in the floor, of course, are a ducted heat system that brings heat up into your sled so that you pull your sleds in, melts everything off, and you don't have to worry about unloading into the garage. Same with cabinets. We have a heated helmet cabinet, so it dries out your helmet every time. Place for your goggles to defrost out, boots to dry off, gloves to dry off. No more getting up to the mountain and forgetting your boots, forgetting a glove, having a stinky helmet because you forgot to pull it out of the bag. It's all ready to go. So it's a life changer. If you're a snowmobiler and you love the lifestyle, it's really nice to have something like this. So you leave all your stuff in. In the mornings I come out of the house, I start the heater in the trailer, and then I start the truck to warm up before we go. By the time you get there, all your gear's warm. No more worrying about what you have, what you don't have. So in this trailer, it's a 34. You can easily put 6 sleds in. You can put more if you're wanting to stack more in. As you can see, that's 6 long track sleds. We've got some 174, 165, 155s, kind of a mixture of everything, but you've got plenty of room. Still have room in front to get dressed if you want to get dressed before you pull them out. Off to the left, you have plenty of shelves and coat racks. You've got plenty of charging stations so you can charge your bags and your beacons and everything you need that way. They come with all the stuff ready to go. Up here you've got a full kicker sound system, place there you can put your storage, also put a mat if it's something you want to sleep once in a while. Roof vents that'll pull the moisture out of the trailer. More charging stations, plenty of coat hooks, everything you need. This trailer's actually got 2 40,000 BTU furnaces in it. So when you're out in the really cold days, we've slept in the parking lot so we can get up early and ride. Keeps you plenty warm. Heated and insulated underneath the floor as well, so you don't have any cold air coming up underneath. It's just a complete lifestyle changer.
My name is Jeff Hote, and I'm a candidate for the City Council here in Tremonton, Utah. Just to give you a little background on myself, I have a great deal of education and experience in government. I have a master's degree in public administration and about 36 years of experience in government work, 30 of those at the administrative level. I've run state agencies being appointed by 2 different governors. I've run a federal program in Washington, D.C. that encompassed the nation, and I have a lot of experience in determining what works within government and being accountable to make sure that it works, myself accountable as well as my programs. When people vote, and I really want a lot more people to vote, for me or for any candidate, I just want them to get out there because too many people don't vote. We're lucky here in Tremonton to get 25% of the people to vote who are eligible to vote. Please get out there and vote and find out about your candidates. I have a position on issues that differs from many of them. I'm a fiscal conservative. That's a big thing for me. But number 2, I'm a huge fan of a pure democracy where the majority determines what the government will do and not elected people who decide to represent you with their wishes, not your wishes. So please consider me as you move forward on things, and I will help all I can. If you want to find out more about me, go onto YouTube and go vote for Hote, VOTEFORHOEDT, and you will see a number of videos on my positions on issues. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Mormon, and I'm running for Tremonton City Council. I am a local business owner here in town. I own Main Street Mercantile, and I'm running for a few reasons. I am very passionate about affordable housing and the need that we have here in our community. I'm also passionate about the lack of business in our community that everybody is saying that we need, whether it's new restaurants, entertainment, etc. I think that's something that we need to be more aggressive in getting here in our community. I'm also a fan of not just coming up with the problems in our community, but bringing those concerns forward with solutions and ideas of how to fix them, ways to move forward. I think that's very important. I also am very passionate about working with people who just think differently than myself, whether it's political disagreements or other disagreements. I think there's always room to have conversations, find common ground, and move forward. I think that's how we can progress into the future as a stronger community, so that everyone here is heard and seen and has opportunity to prosper.
My name is Connie Archibald. I have lived in Tremonton for 46 years, along with my husband Dale and our 4 children. We have 13 grandchildren. And I really have enjoyed working with the city and other service-related opportunities that have been presented to me. I have been a member of the Tremonton City Council for the last 4 years, and I'm seeking a second term. It's been a real opportunity and blessing for me to be able to work closely with the Planning Commission, the Development Review Committee, the Recreation Department, Public Works, the administrative team here in the Tremonton City area, and I've learned so much, and I'm grateful for the professional people that they are and the hard work and the great service that they offer our community. Number 1 priority for me is a strategic priority. It's a priority of which I believe we should put significant amount of monies into, and that is safety. Safety involves lots of different things. It involves obviously policing. It involves our fire department, which we have really made some changes there that I think make our community safer. But I support our police as they offer training and education on active shooter training to our schools and so on and so forth. I believe they should continue to prioritize hotspot policing to get rid of the drug community that sometimes happens in places and influences families and impacts and destroys families. I'm grateful for an opportunity to now embrace an opportunity with city beautification. Beautification has everything to do with health and safety, and so I plan to continue that as well. Excited for a city planner to join us. But what can you expect from me in the next 4 years? I will continue to reward students, those students who are responsible, respectful, and safe. Continue to recognize them in our city council meetings. I support the wise use of our land use plan. This is a plan that offers direction in areas of protecting our agricultural land, commercial district, industrial, residential, and the zoning involved there. I support wise water and infrastructure. I support secondary water and having our citizens be conservative in the use of water. I also support a walking trail. With the mental health crisis that exists in our nation today, I think it's important that we offer our citizens a walking trail. This would be a 3-mile walking trail north to south, and I'm very supportive of that. Again, I mentioned beautification. I would like to celebrate those individuals who have beautiful yards and make our town, our city more beautiful, and also offer support to those who may need a little bit of help. I would ask for your vote. Again, this is Connie Archibald, running for Tremonton City Council. Thank you.
Hi, I'm RJ and I'm running for City Council. My goals for running for City Council is to try and make it so that even though our city continues to grow at a pace which is somewhat alarming, to be frankly honest, that we will at least have the infrastructure and businesses available for the people who will be moving here. My plans include trying to increase road sizes, to help to alleviate traffic, to make sure that water and sewage and power are available to the city and that the infrastructure for those are kept up, that we have enough room in our high school for the students who will be here, and that we keep the students who are in the middle school and elementary schools, that they have the room for them as well. And generally, I would like to try and keep Tremonton to feel like Tremonton, the Tremonton that we've all known, all loved, all grown up with, but we are going to have to accept the fact that growth happens and it's an inevitability, and the best thing we can do is just make it so that it's not painful on all of us.
Hi, I'm Blair Westergaard. I'm running for Tremonton City Council. I was born and raised in this valley. I've lived in Tremonton for just over 40 years. I've been a member of the fire department for 40 years, so I've got a lot of knowledge, I think, of kind of how the city works, budgets work, different things like that. I think the biggest obstacle we have now is growth, and I don't think we can stop it, but I think we can try to guide it the right way. That's what I want to do, and then we need to make sure the infrastructure is in place for that growth, and maybe try to get a little bit of retail businesses, a little bit more different things, entice somebody to come in so we can help counterbalance the tax burden on some retail sales. So that's all about me, pretty cut and dry, right to the point, so you can decide whether you vote for me or not. Thanks.
My name's Lyle Vance. I'm running for a third, fourth-year term. I've been happy to serve for 2 terms of 8 years. I've lived here in Tremonton my whole life, except for 2 years when I went on a mission and 2 years while I was going to college. Graduated from good old Bear River, graduated from Utah State in accounting. Married a local girl, Kayleen Ashby. I raised my family here in this valley, and I worked as a banker for 42 years, just recently retired. I've been directly or indirectly involved with pretty much everything you see here in Tremonton over the last 40 years. If you want to try to keep the quiet Tremonton city lifestyle that we've so much enjoyed, you need to vote for a local person that's been raised here. I know what the Tremonton lifestyle is all about. I've lived here for 63 years. There's a couple concerns I'd like to talk about really quick. The growth, the population growth has been alarming. Anybody that claims to even or even hints that they can control growth doesn't know what they're talking about. The only tool the city council has to manage the growth is zoning and annexing. growth is dictated by economics, period. Everyone needs to just understand where the numbers are at this point. I'm going to name off just the 5 last years. 2019, there were 72 business license given. 2020, 168. 2021, 434. 2022, 221. And this year, as of August, 13. Economics, the interest rates, we're down to where we're back to normal again. So everybody needs to understand that in our community. Communication has been a problem that needs to be worked on. I floor calls all week long from constituents. And anyway, to try to get out of the rhetoric, please call one of your city councilmen. I'm happy to floor it. Vote for me, local person. And if you have any questions, talk to me. Thank you.
Well, we're here with Athletic Director Clay Chernus with a fall sports wrap-up. We had a couple new coaches our first season. Yeah. And we had, what else we got? We got a little bit further in football. Yeah. You know, a lot of positives coming out of the fall sports.
I felt good about where we finished up with most of our clubs. And felt like we were headed in a good direction on almost all of them. So, yeah. Soccer got done first. How about I start with them? That work?
No, perfect.
So we, obviously Coach Waite is a new coach. It was her first head coaching position. And I felt like she did an amazing job. Her and her staff really put in a ton of work for our girls. And you could see a massive improvement in some of their skills and some of the things that they were able to do. Felt like we were really competitive in region. I know we didn't get any wins, and that's disappointing. And I don't think anybody's more disappointed than Coach Waite with that, right? Like
but you had opportunities.
We did, and you look at it and you go, Green Canyon wins the state championship, right? And you've got we play them to a 1-0. And then they didn't score until way late in that game. I mean, it was a 0-0 game, I think, going into there was something like 4 minutes left when they scored, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So Skyview was right in there. I think Skyview made it to the semifinal game, and again we were within one score of them one time. Overtime with Logan, got beat on a golden goal, and even going down to Uinta, for the first round of the playoffs. We score within 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And look like, hey, we got a chance, and we did have a chance. We just, there was a few things that we just didn't do really well that game. If you talk to Coach Waite, she'll tell you we just didn't do X, Y, and Z, and that kind of cost us in the middle part of the game. And then the end part of the game, we really fought back and gave ourselves a chance even then. And so, I think soccer-wise, it's a bit of a rebuild, but the girls were excited, which was super good to see. They even after a loss and the season ends, I've talked to a few of them, and they're excited to put some good work in the off season and come back and see where we're going to be next year. We don't lose a lot of seniors. I think we lose 5 seniors, and so we're still relatively young there. So yeah.
Yeah, one of your leading scorers, freshman.
Yeah.
Amory Crowther.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we actually, if I haven't seen them play, but I think the 8th graders actually have a few pretty good players there as well. So they could be looking at contributing on the varsity level, a few of those next year. But yeah, for sure, really young. I thought we were really athletic this year. There was some times where I felt like, hey, we've made some good leaps forward there. I felt like Coach Waite and her staff did a really good job of balancing being a new staff with high expectations and then being able to still connect with kids. And they did an excellent job that way. I have nothing but praise with what they were able to do with a new program coming in. So yeah, looking at good things from them in the future. I think that we're on the right track there, and we definitely have the right person in Coach Waite and her staff. So
yeah, and again, going over and following them and covering some of these games for them, every school that we went to had high praises of how this has just kind of flipped in a year.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And like I said, sometimes you define success differently than wins, because obviously in our region we didn't get any, and so you go, well, that's that. Some people looking back, that's a failure. I really don't think that, because we were definitely in every game except for maybe a couple, and really competed really well in almost all of those. So those are things that we look at, and just the increase in skill level, right? Like looking at what we were able to do, offensively. We had a good idea of what we wanted to do offensively, and so that was something that we knew we needed to work on, and Coach Waite did a really good job of promoting that and being very intentional about that. So, yeah. So boys golf had a new coach there, Coach Hartfield, young coach. Tristan's not too much older than the boys that are golfing. I mean, he's a little bit, but he's a fairly young coach. Again, first year coach. He works out to the golf course as one of their pros out there, and he's an alum. And really a great guy. Learned a lot this year. I think he even came in and talked to me about a few things. Just said I learned a lot that I didn't know. When you're a new coach, there's a lot of stuff that kind of sneaks up on you. A lot of paperwork and a lot of letting people know, hey, this is what's going on that he didn't know about, and that's par for the course for anybody. So he kind of got threw in the fire quickly, because they start really quickly in the summertime. Oh, yeah. And so a lot of their stuff was done almost even before school started. They were halfway through their season before school started, and so anyway, he did a good job. We had, we got better throughout the year. We started off kind of 5th and 6th, and then as we went, we did our region meets. We consistently got better. Now, so did everybody else. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we leapfrogged anybody, but we consistently got better with our scores overall. And then, in the region match that we had, we did really well. We had a couple of kids finish in the top. We had one kid finish in the top 7, and then we had 2 or 3 kids that finished, I think in the top 12 or 15, which was kind of a new piece there. For them this year, and then team-wise, we did the best we had done all year. So you look at it and go, okay, how did we progress as we went through the year? Did we get better? And we definitely got better. And I felt like ended the year on a good note. He's got a good idea of what he wants to do with a lot of those kids in the off season to try to help work on a few things. And again, we were really underclassmen heavy there too. In the region meet, Brady Woodward was the one that finished quite high. I want to say he finished 3rd or 4th overall in the region meet. Cutler Christensen, I think there was at least 2 meets that he was fairly high up in there as well. Again, both those kids are sophomores, so getting some good things done that way.
They even had some kids that they just picked up golf.
Yes, they had a few kids, which we really appreciate, because that means that I think that our coaches are doing a good job about either recruiting some kids that come out and play, or they're talking to their friends and saying, hey, this is fun. Let's go out and come out and see what you can do. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of those younger kids that I think are going to get a lot better over the summertime and give us a chance to do some things moving into next year. So yeah, Tristan, Coach Hartfield, I really enjoyed working with him. It's fun to see when a coach kind of is able to see a difference in what they're making with some of their kids, and be able to see, oh, okay, that worked really well, and I'm going to do more of that, because that seemed to be a benefit and a bonus to our kids. And so he saw a lot of that, and I think you'll see him do a lot more, and be a lot more vocal and maybe more intentional with what he wants to do specifically next year, because he learned a lot this year. So it'll be good. So tennis, Robert and Christine have usually tag teamed tennis. They've been co-head coaches. This year it was just Christine, so she was kind of by herself this year. Her husband was just because of work. It's hard. It is extremely difficult to be a high school coach and not be a teacher, especially if you have another job that's fairly demanding. And at that point, Robert had helped us out for 3 or 4 years, and just felt like, hey, there's some things I really got to do at work, and obviously we want him to be successful that way. But Christine was awesome and said, hey, listen, I can step up and be the head coach. She brought in a couple of new assistant coaches that I really thought did a good job of connecting with the girls. They've done an excellent job of growing that program as far as numbers wise. We have 40 kids, girls tennis. That's kind of a lot, honestly. Yeah. That's a lot of kids to coach. Number one, with 2 or 3 people out there, and it's also a lot of kids that you spend a lot of time at tennis matches because you're trying to get 40 kids to get on the court at some point, and tennis matches aren't short. But if you've ever been to a tennis match, it's one tennis match takes an hour and a half, and you usually you're going to have 2 varsity singles and 2 varsity doubles that A and B and C, and then you got all these the JV or the C squad. She calls them the C squad kids that need matches, and so they're out there from 3:30 to 8:30, 9:30, until it's completely too dark to play.
I was going to say, I
sometimes.
need to put some lights out on the court.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that a little bit, not seriously, but honestly, if we did, she'd probably stay out there. Honestly, Christine is that committed to her kids, and she just her big thing is I want kids to get better, and I felt like we did a lot of that this year. We actually had, last year we had. One of our girls that did really, really well, obviously, or was that 2 years ago? Yeah, Erica Olson. Was that last year? I'm trying to think if that was last year. I think it was last year.
Last year could be.
Anyway, she played for a state championship last year, and was really good. And obviously losing her, we're looking at, okay, what's our team going to be like this year? And one of the goals was, okay, look, we're going to make it to state. We know we're going to do that. But we want to win a match at state, and they were able to do that. Maddie Mickelson was able to do that, and then they actually had a doubles team that won a match at state as well. And so, with the expanded numbers of teams in our classification this year, that was even a bigger deal than maybe it was last year.
Yeah. Because
last year you just had us and St. George's schools, and so adding all of those middle schools, the state schools. Into the mix made it even a bigger accomplishment there, and so I thought we finished the year really, really well. The kids loved it. Again, we'll get another 40 kids in the summertime that will come out, and 40 kids that will stay the whole time, and so that's a really good indication of what Coach Epling does with her program, and how much the kids really appreciate what she does, and just like to be there and like to be part of the program and getting better. So tennis has traditionally around here not been a huge. It's been tough to get kids to come out, honestly, for boys tennis and for girls tennis. And I think Christine's done a huge kind of a grassroots effort to get more girls that want to just be out there and play. And eventually that'll translate into some other good things as well. I mean, I think eventually you're going to be a lot more competitive because they've been there a lot longer and there's more kids there. So we appreciate everything that they've done, because it's definitely a different program than it was 5 years ago. So
yeah.
Volleyball, love Coach Brown. She and her staff work. One of the things that I really appreciate about her is she does her level best to teach character and service within her program. They do a ton of really fun stuff, but she requires her girls to be active and involved, and not just in volleyball. They do a lot of other things too. They host what they call Dig Pink Night, which is a cancer awareness night, and the team gets really involved with that. They do service projects, little ones, but even after the season was over with, I know they dressed up the other day for Halloween and brought in boo presents. They called them boo presents or something like that, to a bunch of the teachers that they felt like had made an impact on their girls, and so they would come in after school in their costumes and say thank you, and so they've done a lot of those things to help their program. We suffered through a lot of injuries. We were it was a tough year. Seemed like every time we thought, okay, we we got everybody back and we're healthy, and let's see how we can roll now. Another person would get hurt, and it was usually key spots. And we didn't have a lot of height-wise, we weren't very tall, and in volleyball, that's a tough thing to overcome. I remember coming in and watching, when Skyview was in here, they got like 2 6'4" girls, and I'm like, yeah, wow, okay, that's tough to overcome. And I think Green Canyon played for the state championship, got beat by Orem. But Skyview was in, I believe Skyview and Ridgeline were both either in the quarters or the semis. So you had, our region's pretty tough. If you look at what they were able to do at the state tournament, our region was extremely well represented in the last 6 to 8 teams. And so, I think we finished ahead of Logan in region, and then had a couple of tight games with Mountain Crest right there. And then we went down to Mountain View, and I'm not really sure why Mountain View fell to where they were, because they actually made a pretty good run in the state tournament, and they were.
Oh yeah, they beat Orem.
Yeah. So it was
earlier on in the season.
Yeah. So they I think they may have been the only team in the state to beat Orem, if I remember right. Other than there may have been a 6A school that beat Orem, but yeah, Orem kind of ran through everybody, and Mountain View was one of those teams that, and so you got down there and we get warm up to play, and I'm like, ooh. This team's really good, and again, we were still just trying to nurse a few things in. There's a couple Lexi Reese, I think, played injured the entire year. I don't think she ever felt good, but was one of those kids that you're not going to pull her off the court. So you keep trying to put her out there in positions where she can be successful without getting more injured, because she wasn't going to hurt anything increased. Hurt it more,
playing
basically.
Sore.
Yeah, she had a couple injuries that the doctor basically, I think, told her, hey, you can play as long as you can handle it, until you get done. And she's, you got to give her a lot of credit. She just said, I'm going to play. This is my senior year. I don't care. We're going to go out and play. And Sadie got hurt a couple of different times. She really had a rough injury that took 2 or 3 weeks to heal. And then even when she came back, you've been out 2 or 3 weeks. It's hard to get back into all of the groove there, and so, and that happened with 2 or 3 of our girls even. So we did. I know there was quite a few that played that were younger, that I'm not sure thought they were going to get a lot of varsity time, that ended up getting quite a bit of varsity time. Even a couple of freshmen came up and played a little bit of varsity time. So, looking at that, I think they had 6 seniors that were on the team this year, so you've got a lot of younger kids coming back next year. So hopefully we'll be able to build upon that, and really move forward and see what we can do in our region. Outside of our region, I think we did pretty well when we were, as far as wins and losses. But our region's really tough, and we took our lumps there a little bit, and I think a lot of that had to do with some injuries and stuff that way. So, yeah. Cross country just finished up state. So. Girls cross country, I believe, finished 3rd in region, and then our boys actually tied for 1st place, which would have been 3 years in a row. But evidently I didn't know this until we got over there, but evidently cross country has a tiebreaker for ties.
Oh.
And the way that it was explained to me, and so don't quote me on this because I'm not sure that I'm right, but the way it was explained was you take your 6th place runner, and whoever had the faster time between the 2 teams on their 6th place runner is the region champion. And so we lost right, the region championship on a tiebreaker based on our 6th place runner that day. And if I remember right, I think the coach told me it was like less than 2 seconds, which in cross country is nothing, right? You're looking at it going, holy cow. And so, cross country wise, Coach Wynn and Coach Hurst do a great job of motivating all those kids. Cross country is a tough sport, and my son ran for a little while, and I don't run. I am not a runner.
No, running is not my thing.
I think you have to be, you gotta like pain just a little bit to run like that. And so they do a good job motivating kids. They have great kids, and they worked hard. I always joke with the coaches because they run past my house quite often in early in the summertime, and I usually walk out and say hi, and they're always working hard, and they're always got a smile on their face. Because like if I was running, that you would definitely not have a smile on my face. But they're always glad to do it, and a lot of that paid off. One of our male runners, Ren Hunter, was our highest place finisher in region, and did a really nice job there. In fact, he won region. He was the highest, the lowest time wise in region, and then placed, I believe, in the top 6 or 7 in the divisional round. And then I think he was like 14th, 13th, 14th, something like that in state when they finished. So he was our highest place finisher. We are in that particular area with our boys cross country. We're a little senior heavy. We're going to graduate quite a few kids, both boys and girls. So it'll be interesting to see next year if we can recruit some of the younger kids, get some freshmen and sophomores in there that'll replace some of those guys. We still have a good crew that's younger, but not nearly as maybe deep as our senior class was. I think Bethany Richards was our highest placed finisher in the girls, if I remember right. And she did a good job. I think she was 3rd or 4th in region, and then fell back a little bit in the divisionals and state. But they, overall, the coaches felt like they lived up to what their potential was. That knowing, region, we knew we had a chance to win, and really we took advantage of everything that we were able to do. Honestly, I think everybody thought Logan was going to be the team to beat, and in region match, Logan ended up 4th. But when you go down to the state, I think maybe they got a kid back that was injured, and they ended up being the highest place finisher from our region at state. So cross country is one of those things that you go, it just depends on the day and the course and who's running well and that kind of stuff. But in talking to the coaches, they really felt like their kids got better over the season and finished well, and did what they felt like their potential was with that, lived up to that. And so I think that's always a good thing to say, hey, you know what, we did what we were supposed to do, and feel good about it when you're done at the end. So a couple of our kids may even have a chance. I know there's a couple of our kids that are being a little bit recruited by a couple of colleges to go run cross country. So that'll be a good thing. It'll be interesting to see if they actually sign. I think, hopefully coming up, we may have a few of those kids that get the chance to do that at the next level. So football's kind of the straw that stirs the drink, right? Sometimes, especially in the fall. I Coach Waite's second year coming in, they did a really good job of evaluating where they were last year and making specific goals to meet some things that they knew they were going to have to do to be more competitive this year, and they did that over the springtime. Going into the summertime, we felt really good about things. Obviously, you had a lot of returners coming back from last year's team, a lot of really good leaders. And it's the same kids you bring up a lot. You got Owen Olson, good leader. Jace Roberts, good leader. Talon Marvel, good leader. Aiden Wilson, great leader. Tyson Brager, great leader. Got the Cutler is just lost his first name. Cutler, I just call him Cutler all the time. It's Matt Cutler's son. Anyway, he was a good leader. He got hurt early, but was part of that senior group that really felt like, look, we can turn a corner here. We can do some things that make a difference in the future. And you saw that early in the season. I think Cedar Valley was a really good indicative of what our talent level was. I think they were pretty stunned, honestly, talking to their coaches. I think they came in and felt like they were going to roll us, and the tables got flipped on them the very first game. And
we had a relative on Cedar Valley, and that's the same mentality. That's what they thought they were going to come in here and do.
Yeah, and their coaches were very gracious about it. I mean, they weren't rude. They just came in and said, "Man, I think we thought we were going to come in and just dominate this game." And he's like, "You guys kicked our butts," and we did, and which was kind of fun. There's nothing wrong with that. So then we struggled a little bit obviously Morgan and Box Elder, but then got back on the right track with Carbon and Logan. And then, the heartbreaker over there at Skyview, that was a rough one. I gotta give a huge shout out to everybody on that staff and those kids. They fought tooth and nail coming back, and the 2-point conversion was absolutely the right call. People can question that all they want, but if you're a football fan, you realize that we had probably expended about as much energy as we had trying to come back in that game. Anybody that wants to be critical of going for 2 right there, I would say, in that situation, yes, if we get the extra point that we go into overtime, but I think we would probably have been gassed at that point and probably not have done well. Whereas if you go for 2 right there and you got the momentum, you got them on their heels.
That's the knockout.
Yeah, and actually I think we had the right play called. If you look at it,
Roberts had it on his fingertips.
Right, and Jace will be the first one to be upset that he didn't make the catch, but their kid did a good job too. You have to tip your cap to them. We had all the momentum going into that, and that swinging gate play is hard to defend if you're not kind of on the same page. I actually thought maybe they would take a timeout right there and regroup, and then give us because we were out of timeout, so we couldn't take a timeout. So at the time you make a decision and say, yes, we're going for 2. This is the play that we think we can do that with. And at the time it was a little bit, our kids are excited and whatever, and they spotted the ball fairly quickly, so we had to hurry to get that play off. But didn't pan out for us, and that was, like I said, that was a little bit of a heartbreaker. But competed well against Green Canyon, and Ridgeline kind of got away from us late in the game, and then we have Mountain Crest here, and then go down. Didn't have a great showing against Salem Hills. I didn't feel like, and I think Coach Wade will tell you the exact same thing. Felt like we had a really legitimate shot to win that game, and for some reason just didn't play well. And that maybe cost us a little bit. We weren't able to have a home playoff game. It didn't cost us really a whole lot about who we were going to play.
It was either going to be here playing Spanish Fork
or they're playing Spanish Fork, and so they which was kind of funny because really going in, there had to be a whole lot happen there. Number one, we had to lose against Salem Hills. Ridgeline got beat. That didn't help us. Mountain Crest got beat. That didn't help us and so all this kind of there was a conglomeration of a bunch of stuff that happened that we just barely dropped to 17 versus 16 and would have hosted.
It was like 0.003 or whatever.
It was some stupid number, right? And you're like, oh my gosh. So would have been the first home game that we'd hosted in a long time. We haven't hosted a home game in a long time for the playoffs. But it is what it is, and I thought Coach Wade and his staff did a good job of not dwelling on that too long and just say we got a game to play on Friday. And I thought overall, I really thought that was probably one of our best games all year as a whole. Our kids, handed to Spanish Fork in the last 3 or 4 games that they played in the year, they were extremely competitive. They hadn't been early, but the last 3 or 4 games they played in, they either won or lost in the last minute of the game, even against Timpanogos, who Timpanogos went and rolled Mountain Crest last week. And they got beat by Timpanogos, I think, in the last 30 seconds. And it was a very high scoring game, so going into that, I think we felt like, we can win, but this is going to be a bit of a dogfight. And our kids, by the end of the third quarter, it was pretty clear. We outplayed these guys, so keep playing through the fourth quarter and we'll be fine. Spanish Fork did a good job of scoring a little bit late to make the score a little closer than it maybe was. But our kids just did a great job of both offensively and defensively of not letting them have huge plays. If they were going to score, they were going to have to drive. And then we did a great job offensively of just kind of being a machine, to be honest with you. I think we only punted twice, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, just we're really good about taking what their defense gave us and then making plays when we needed to. So and then you go over and we have Skyview's the number 1 team in the state right now, and they played really well.
They showed
last
you.
week.
They showed you why.
Yeah,
and
again, credit them. They're really good. First of all, the Egbert kid is legit. He has the offer from BYU. He is a legit tier 1 running back in the state, and he showed that against us. He ran really well. And their quarterback does a really good job of putting the ball where it needs to go. He's not flashy with anything, but he is pretty solid. And their offense was really good, and they did a good job. And credit Coach Howell. It'll be Coach Howell's last season over there. I believe he's already announced that he's going to be done after this year. And so they obviously have won 2 state championships under him, so he knows what he's doing. His staff did a good job, and I thought our kids competed really well. Nobody gave up, or I felt like we just didn't have maybe some answers that we needed early, and it got away from us a little bit there in the third quarter. But overall, feel like we haven't won a playoff game for a little while. It's been 4 years, I believe, since we won a playoff game. So we get a playoff win. We increase our number of wins from last year, and our JV did a really good job all year of competing in our region, so that bodes well for us. And our freshmen went undefeated in region, so the future looks bright. We're gonna have to work hard. Our region is really good. If you look at it, you got Skyview's number 1, Ridgeline's was 4, Green Canyon had a home game, so did Mountain Crest for the first round. So that means they're in the top basically 8 or so. That's pretty good. That's 4 of the 6 teams in our region are in the either get a bye or play at home.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. We've got a lot of work to do, but feel confident with the staff that we have in place. I'm so impressed with the way Coach Waite does things. He does it the right way. He has very high expectations for his kids, but he connects with them really, really well, and he's able to motivate them. And so he just I feel like last year being his first year, he was really trying to feel a lot of things out. There's, again, when you're a first year coach, there's a lot of things that come at you that you're not expecting.
A first year coach said, that's 2 months in, and said,
yes.
"Okay, the season starts now."
Yeah,
go.
He hadn't even been here yet, right? He didn't get here till the middle of June, right?
Yeah.
So I thought he really did make some good moves to really make our team a lot better going into the season. So I think that was a really good deal on his part, and targeted. I really like that. He had, again, I already said this, but he had very specific things that he wanted his kids to be able to do, and then felt like that would translate into success on the football field, and you could see that it did. And so we had four new records. I think I think it was 4 kids that had new records. Yeah, Owen with most passing yards in a season. You had Jace Roberts with the most receiving yards in a season. Aiden, I think, had the most sacks in a season, and then you got who else? What am I missing? Brager with interceptions, in a season. So those are all good things. That means we played well, and we were competitive, and we got after it, and those are all great kids. All those, I think there was 22 seniors, if I remember right. So there's a lot of seniors there, and they did a good job, and we're proud of them, and feel like we're on the right track to keep getting better. So.
Well, as far as the classification getting bigger, do you feel like that helped? Didn't change anything at all?
I don't know whether it changed. I don't know. I mean, it makes it a little more fun to play. To be honest with you, when you only have 2 regions, you kind of get sick of seeing each other all the time, because it's they're either going to St. George or they're coming up here.
Yeah. And so whether
it just kind of got a little bit stale that way. So having some new teams in the region is I think a good thing. It definitely gives us a chance to see other people. And I would tell you that I think our team this year, football-wise, if we play in either of the other 2 regions, we're probably in the top 2 in those 2 regions. I think our region was just that tough this year. I didn't get a chance to see much of what the Southern region did, but
the first 2 rounds they just played each other all.
Yeah, exactly. So that you never know exactly how good that means that they were, but I definitely think that in those 2 middle regions, if we'd have been in those 2 middle regions, we're probably in the top 2 in either one of those 2 regions. And it is what it is. Nobody's feeling sorry for us here, but I think we were that good football-wise. I think we were that talented, and we had that good a staff. Just we're in a really tough region, you have to overcome that, and I thought we did as much as we could to try and do that. So.
And they got hit with the injury bug.
Yeah, we
halfway
did
through region
yes,
play.
Yeah. I mean, you had Jaden DeCourcy that goes down with a really tough injury. Nixon Weston didn't play 3 games because of an injury. Even before the season started, one of our starting O linemen went down and never played. So you did have a lot of adversity, and everybody has that. Football always seems to happen.
It's
in
a
football.
rough sport.
It is. There's always injuries, and you just have to deal with it. But one of the things I thought that Coach Waite did late that I thought really helped us in the last game, or at least the game against Spanish Fork, was we kind of platooned a little bit. We went to not trying to play, Talon Marble and Jace Roberts and Ty Jones and Owen Olson both ways as much. We were able to give some other kids that had stepped up and had proved that they could handle the role. Give them some opportunities to come in and step in and give those guys some breaks. And I think that helped us a ton, especially in the Spanish Fork game. Be fresh and ready and you saw that with our offensive output with Talon and Jace. So, yeah. Good adjustment by a coach that looks at it and goes, okay, we need to make an adjustment, so let's do one. Let's make something. So.
Next, we feature Let It Bree, a local business who can give you the perfect array of food trays for all your holiday get-togethers. That's next week on Talk of the Town.